So I've been implementing these things into my business, trying to help team members with personal development, things like that. And I broke it down to three things. And if you listen to this podcast, you've heard me talk about all of these things kind of interwoven into episodes. But I thought I would break these three things down that have drastically changed my life for the better. And I truly believe that if anyone does these three things consistently, you will 100% see improvement in your life. The three things, they're very simple, and you probably already know what they are if you listen to this show. So number one, read every day. I did not like to read at all when I started reading every day. I started reading 10 pages a day because it was one of the requirements of 75 Hard. And at the time that I decided I was going to do 75 Hard is when I was really getting into personal development. So I was listening to audiobooks and doing all those kind of things, but I wasn't actually reading books. And I know audiobooks are good too, but I think cultivating the skill of reading is also very important. The thing with audiobooks and podcasts and stuff like that is most of us don't tend to sit down and just absorb that information. We tend to do other things. We're doing laundry, we're at work, we're driving, we're doing whatever. But when you sit down to read a book, that's pretty much where your focus is on that book. And my reading comprehension was pretty bad. And I was also, it was very hard for me to focus on what I was reading. But over time, you just get better at it. It's just a skill like anything else. So develop that skill and do that every day. I've seen such huge improvements in my life over the last, I don't know, it's not even been a full 3 years since I've been reading really steadily. Like it's like part of my life now. Like I can't imagine not waking up in the morning and doing that reading. It's very consistent, and it's very rare that I miss a day of reading. Not only do I learn a lot of life skills and a lot of things like that, but my business has improved dramatically. And so what's important if you start doing this, obviously, there's a lot of people that they'll sort of shoot to read all these books and sort of rack up these numbers so that they can tell their friends like, oh, I read 50 books a year, or I read this much. But just make sure you're implementing it, because that was something that I have to constantly remind myself that you're reading to get knowledge, to do some shit with it. And so obviously if you're reading every single day, if you're reading 10 pages a day, that ends up being, 300 pages a month. So that's about a book a month. Is that right? I think so. I don't know. Whenever I'm trying to do shit like that, it just, my brain automatically thinks that I'm wrong. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But, do the math. An average book is about 300 pages. So I think it's a book a month. Let's get back on track. So implement the shit that you read, but you don't have to think about it like you got to implement a whole 300-page book. You're really just reading to find those little bits of information that really stand out to you. So a lot of times in a lot of these podcast episodes that I do, they're like one piece of one book that I read, that this one piece of information popped out that I felt would be applicable and something that I can send over to the listeners, and hopefully you guys gain something from it. And a lot of times I'm thinking of it as from a graffiti writer's perspective. So that's kind of, I don't know, a little sidetrack, but overall the idea is you're reading books to try to find information that you can implement into your life. And if you take that very seriously, you are 100% going to see results. There's no way you won't. So the next thing is also very obvious. Everything got better in my life when I started taking my health more seriously. A lot of times this whole conversation around health, it tends to lean towards the vanity side. So, when you hear discussions about it, it's like, it's about looks and all that stuff. But like I feel like there's a conversation that's talked about a little bit less. But if you're struggling with anything, anything from mental health to physical problems and things like that, it's very likely that getting healthy is going to improve or fix all of that shit. I think a lot of us are stuck in this. I mean, I know I used to be, and I'm not anymore, but you get stuck in this thing where you're just living unhealthy, and you think you feel okay because your baseline is pretty shitty. If you're eating fast food and shit like that all day, then your baseline is your body is like always in this state of inflammation and bloat and all that stuff. And that's just what you're used to. But once you get healthy, then you really start to see, once you kind of like slip back into that thing. And this happens to me all the time. Like when I make a decision to like, fuck it, I'm just going to eat something stupid today. I can tell, like you can tell. And I've never gotten back to where I was when I was like in a constant state of being bloated and feeling like shit. But I know the difference now. And I know it's been a huge help in fixing everything in my life. So if you have a business, you wouldn't think that getting healthy might, would contribute to making your business better, but it will, because you're going to have more energy. You're going to have more mental clarity. You're going to be in a better mood. You're going to have better mental health. All of these things, like your body is the machine that is necessary to make everything in your life happen. So if you're not taking care of that, then obviously there's a lot of holes in your game that can be either patched or, improved dramatically by taking your health seriously. So, I mean, it's really simple, and I talk about it all the time, and it's just one of those things that was just a huge game changer for everything. Every single aspect of my life got better when I took my health seriously. So mental, physical, all of that stuff. I mean, it seems kind of obvious, but wouldn't you think that being in a lot better physical shape is going to help you as a graph writer too? I mean, I remember painting with a group of people once, and it was a long project. It was like, I think it took us like 3 days to do it. And I was up and down a ladder for 2 straight days, like all day, every day, painting these things that required me to be up and down a ladder. And then this one guy towards the end of the second day, he needed to use the ladder to get up on some shit that he had to paint. And I swear he was like up and down the ladder like 3 or 4 times, and he was already like dusted, like he was winded. And it was kind of an eye opener, because it was like, man, like I could keep going up and down this ladder every single day, And so just think about it like that. I mean, like you're going to have so much more endurance. Like it would definitely improve your art, or if you're a muralist or something like that. Imagine being in way better physical health, how much better you're going to be. And if you're more mentally clear, and you have more, less brain fog from all that crap that you're putting in your body, I would imagine you're going to get better ideas too. And you're going to just, be able to unlock more shit. All of that stuff is coming from your brain. If you're feeding it better fuel and you're exercising and doing all that shit, there's no way it's not going to help. So that's number 2. And then the last thing is a lot of different people have different things they call it, but it's like the one that I do is called the power list. Some people call it the hit list, or different people have different lists. And what it is just you do this every single day. And I would say do it 7 days a week. It's a list of critical tasks that move your life forward. However many you want to do. I do 5. There are certain people that do 3. And this is sort of outside of your kind of normal to-do list. I don't really do a to-do list, but if I have things I need to remember to do that doesn't really fit into this, I'll make little bullet points on the same thing. But that's kind of like a side thing. But the power list or the hit list or whatever, three critical tasks or 5 critical tasks, whichever you choose to do. I personally do 5, and I do them 7 days a week. And so what's great about this is you can use it to keep yourself on track in every aspect of your life. So if you have this list, sometimes I'll write it the night before, and if I can't think of all the stuff that I need to do the next day, I'll write it in the morning, but usually it's before I start the day. I'll try to line out these tasks and think like, what are things that I can do today that's going to move my life forward in a positive way? And so just some examples. I'm trying to make more content for my company and for my personal brand and the podcast and all of this kind of stuff. So I saw this Alex Hormozy video that he just sort of casually said something like, it was something about like 100 something. I'm getting a little off track, but he mentioned something like, maybe if you made 100 minutes of content for 100 days, you'll see, these crazy results or something. And I was like, that's actually something that I should do. Like I should have that as one of my power list items to do that. So that's one example. And I'll keep adding that on my power list until it's a habit to where I don't have to add it there anymore. And so another one that I put on there a lot of times on the weekends, Jesse and I work a lot, so I want to make sure that I'm focused when I do have time with her, and we usually have a few hours a day on the weekends. So I'll write focused Jesse time on my power list so that it's sort of, not that I don't want to be focused on her, but like it's easy to get caught up in all this other shit. We're constantly, we got all this social media shit, and we got our businesses, and we got all these kind of things going on and pulling our attention away. So if I put that on my list, then I know I can't check it off if I'm fiddling around on my phone, or if I'm thinking about my day, some frustrating thing that happened. It's another way for me to make sure I'm focused when I do have time with her. So that's one example of something that I'll put on there. I've been doing a weekly newsletter at Machine Studio. If you want to get on that, jump on that. That would be cool. Just go to our website, scroll to the bottom, and jump on the newsletter. It's the podcast release is on there, and then there's also educational content. It's not like the typical newsletter shit that you see with like coupons and stuff. We don't do any of that shit. But anyway, so I'm trying to get into the habit of making sure that I get that done every week. So that's another thing that I'll put on my my power list. So those kind of things, like I said, you can use it to improve any aspect of your life. So let's say you're going to do these three things. Let's say, for example, this all kind of can tie together. So let's say you're listening to this and you're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to do all three of these things. So two of your power list items can be reading and exercise. And a third one could even be eat healthy. So there's three power list tasks right there. Then you can choose two other ones, that's going to move your life forward. And so over time, if reading every day, I don't have to put reading on my power list anymore, but I used to. And if I ever do get off track on reading, I'll start putting it back on there. So I know if I don't read, I don't get to check that off. And the thing about checking it off, if you check off all 5 things or all 3 things, whatever one you're going to do, I know for me, I have to check off the 5 things and then I get a win for the day. And that's kind of one of the things. I don't know if all these other kind of lists have that, but I know the power list does. So at the end of the day, if you check off all of your tasks, then you consider that day a win and you put a W next to it. So what I've been trying to do is write down my winning streak. So like when I put the W, I'll write a number next to it, and then I'll keep track of how many wins in a row I got. And I think the longest winning streak that I ever got by a huge margin, I think it was 56. And I just broke that recently. I think I'm on a 7 or 8 day winning streak now. So that's another thing that you can kind of use in your power list. That's not part of the power list. It was just something that that I know that helps me stay motivated. If I have a streak going and I'm tracking how long that streak is, it makes it easier for me to take those wins seriously. So quick recap, the 3 things. Number 1, read 10 pages a day. just do it every day, and I promise it'll get easier. I'll have to check to see how outdated it is, but if you go to graffitimachine.com, there should be a resources tab on there, and it has a bunch of book recommendations. I haven't updated it for a long time, so I'll try to get on there this week and add some more things to it. But there's some ideas on there, but I would suggest just reading about something that you need to work on. So if you're leading a team, I would read some leadership books, and I could suggest a bunch of them. If you're working on your mindset, you can read books on that. If you want to learn about manifestation and fucking all of that kind of shit, if you want to learn about meditation, use that 10 pages of reading to learn some skills to improve your life. Like for me right now, I'm reading a lot about leadership. I'm trying to become the best leader that I can be. But I also read about marketing. I read about all these different things, different things that I need to do in order to move my business forward. That's like one of my biggest focuses in life right now is scaling my business. So I read a lot of things along those lines. So whatever it is that you're trying to improve in your life, just start going after those books and just do that. Dedicate 10 pages a day. If you're not in the habit of reading, use the power list to get into that habit. Then the next thing, get your physical health in order. Your physical health is going to help every single aspect of your life, including your mental health, because your brain is in your fucking body, and it uses a shit ton of calories, considering how small it is in comparison to the rest of your body, but it actually uses a pretty high percentage of the calories you consume. So that means if you eat 8,000 calories of McDonald's food, your brain is using that shit, and that's garbage food. So your brain is not getting good fuel. So obviously getting your physical health in order is going to help your mental health. It's going to increase your energy. It's going to increase your confidence, your mental clarity. It's going to increase everything. If you want to live longer, you're going to reduce your risk of heart disease and all that kind of shit. Get your physical health in order. That's number 2. Number 3, do some kind of power list, a hit list, or whatever, critical tasks list. I do the power list, 5 critical tasks a day. If I knock those 5 out, I get to win. I get to put a W. I won that day. And then my little side thing that I do is put the number of how many wins in a row. So I find that helpful to maintain my winning streak. So I take those wins a lot more seriously. And I've been taking them way more seriously since I started doing that, adding the little winning streak next to it. So I don't know, that could be a little side thing that you can do. So that's pretty much it. I honestly think that if you did those 3 things every single day, you're going to see huge changes in your life, and every aspect of it will get better. All right.
Appreciate each and every one of you guys who are supporting the cause and continue to spread the love. And stay up.